Jordan just, were you confident coming in? Did you need to see the first one fall, or just what was it like to snap out of the slump?
I'd say it felt good to finally see one go through the rim, but even though going through a minor slump, I'd say it's been able to just rely on my practice and just go back on the things that I've been doing, and then just relying on my work, really. Just being able to work out, do what I do, and just being able to see my way through just felt good.
Jahmai, where does that defensive effort to your left from your, where does that defensive effort kind of compare to some of the ones you've been a part of, team-wise and yourself personally?
Well, honestly, it feels pretty normal to me. It might be a little bit different for you guys, but for me, like, I put in a lot of preparation behind the scenes outside of like team stuff to get ready for games like this. Games like these are important to me. Big games where there's a lot of hype and they have the numbers to back it up. They're supposed to be a number one offensive team, the best, offensive team. Stuff like that kind of gets me motivated to want to kind of shut that down and bring our defensive intensity on the court. So I think, it'll rate just, a normal game for me. So as long as I'm doing what I need to do, then, I move on from there.
Jahmai, just following up on that, what does individually preparing for a team like that defensively for you, what does that look like?
It's a lot. It's not just looking at the scouting report and, okay, this guy shoots this percentage, this guy shoots this percentage, but it's really diving in depth on who you're going to be guarding, guys who you may not guard but might switch on, because me, I'm switching 1 through 5, trying to guard everybody. But just knowing what moves they like to get to, what spots they like to get to, how they dribble the ball, what rhythm they have with their dribble, just timing of the steals and stuff like that. So it's a lot of in-depth preparation that I have going into games like that. This is the SEC, so you have great offensive players, and you see that from DK, you see that from guys like Sears and guys in conferences, and I think when you really dive deep on trying to stop a guy like that, it's a hard thing to do. So it takes a lot of preparation. You can't just go in and do it. But luckily I prepare for stuff like that. So I go into games with the utmost confidence in my defense and how I'm going to guard. Whether it's the top guy or the guy last on the bench, I'm confident in how I'm going to guard.
Hi there, Jahmai. This is Devin here from WUTK. So it seemed early on you were mainly guarding Mark Sears, who heading into this game was the leading scorer in the SEC, but you had a lot of success with him at the beginning of this game. Was there anything specific that Sears was doing that you're really making sure to pay attention to when he was dribbling the ball up the court?
Sears is a very left to right type guard. He likes to dribble left to right so he can size you up and get downhill. And after he gets downhill, he likes to step back and shoot threes when you're expecting him to get to the basket. He doesn't really shoot a lot of mid-range shots. He stays away from shots like that, but he likes to get three-er to the rim. And I think that's why he has a lot of success. I think Alabama does a good job of trying to get him open through off-ball screens and on-ball screens and movement on the backside. And you just got to pay attention to stuff like that. So going into the game, I kind of knew that, when he comes downhill, he's going to do probably an in and out, try and get to the rim and try to put his body into a draw foul, get up for a layup. So I think one of the main things that I wanted to do was just take that three away. He's been really successful shooting the three ball. So just trying to take the attempts away so he doesn't really even think about it. Then we have guys like Jonas at the rim. You try to force him to get to the basket, force him to try and shoot a scoop layup or, some hook shot to the rim, and Jonas is, he's right there blocking it, or I'm going to be right there trying to contain and putting my hands up, making a tough finish. So I know for them, maybe they don't expect the defensive preparation that I go into, game to game. They really don't know the stuff that I do before a game, but I guess, as the games move on, they start to see that I take a lot of preparation into that. It's going to be hard for a lot of offensive heavy teams to score and get to where they want to go.
John, Reese, Mike.
Hey, Jahmai in the back. Saw you looking at the stat sheet. What stands out to you?
Honestly, it's the assists that we had. I think we moved the ball a lot. I was just looking at the field goal percentages from both sides. Just, Griffin was having a nice stretch of games, so that was another guy we wanted to make sure we kind of run him off the line and trying to get his rhythm off. You know, Estrada's a good player as well. Trying to get his attempts low and make sure he wasn't as aggressive, and you know, obviously Sears and a couple other guys that contribute to the team. So looking at that, also looking at the plus minus, just looking at, you know, how the game was flowing, and it seemed like it was flowing in our direction. You know, majority of the game, I think we let up just a little bit in the second half, but you know, that's just the game, the name of the game. You know, these are good teams in this conference. So, and then also just looking at the rebounding, just looking at how much we were able to block them out, how many offensive rebounds we were able to get. I feel like that was super important for us, just getting to that class, because we got guys like, you know, JG who can shoot the ball, and if it doesn't go in, we're right there to get that rebound. So just a lot of different things that I think stand out on the stat sheet, and even, you know, going underneath the stat sheet, just a lot of stuff that stands out I think is impressive for us going into a game like this.
Jahmai, how much did switching on the perimeter on ball screens and dribble handoffs contribute to the 22 turnovers?
I think it was really, really important for us to do stuff like that, and I think for us to switch it up, you know, whether it was we're just gonna stay with this guy and we're not gonna switch, or we are gonna switch, and it kind of throws the rhythm off of the other team, because they're expecting you to do one thing, we switch it up, we do another. I think that's why we're so versatile. You know, we have guards who want to guard the ball. You know, JG wants to guard the ball, DK wants those matchups, Z wants those, Santi, Joe, me. We have guards who want those matchups. So you can try to switch, and you know, that can seem like it may work, but no, you have guys who want to sit down and lock up, and they care about both ends of the ball. So I think the switches were really good on our end, on the defensive end, and I think it really got them out of rhythm.
Yeah, Jahmai, you mentioned kind of all that extra preparation. Is that just looking at on paper scouting reports? Is that watching film, talking to coaches, scouting? Like, how do you kind of weave all that stuff together for yourself?
Honestly, it's just, you know, one thing that I like to do, I just like to look at tape, just looking at how they like to score, when they're out of rhythm, how they like to score when they're in rhythm, you know, what spots they like to get to on the court, how they maneuver screens, if they're an off-ball cutter, if they're a guy that doesn't like physicality, if it's a guy that enjoys physicality. It's a lot of things that these guys, these offensive players, like, you look at our game today, like, offense is it's like that, man. These guys can really play, like, on the offensive end, so defense is already at a disadvantage if you don't go in with no preparation. But if you just take that time, just look at how guys play, look at where they like to get you on the spots of the court, and really study that. It's something that I talk to with the coaches, and some stuff that I just keep to myself just for individual matchups, knowing that it's something that I want to look at. So it's just, you know, going into detail and stuff like that, percentages, it's a whole lot of things that you got to do. It's not just you put that on the court and it looks really good and it looks like it's easy, but it's definitely something that I put a lot of thought into, and I definitely study. I feel like I'm a student of the game when it comes to stuff like that.
Go Ben, David, Ryan.
Jordan, what was your mindset on the defensive end of the floor? You were running around out there, and did you enjoy the 3 made threes or the 3 steals more?
3 steals for sure, because that's what we put our pride on. And you know, it's always fun to be playing defense whenever everyone's locked in, and it's just 5 guys out there swarming the basketball, playing together, and just playing as one, which is the biggest thing, and just everyone just having fun out there on the defensive end.
Just see if both of y'all could answer this. Jahmai, you go first if you want, because you were reading off the stats. I was curious about just the plus-minus category to a box score. How much do y'all get into that? Do y'all talk about that as players? I mean, today Josiah scored 1 point that led the team. It's kind of a unique stat. Do you think it's overrated? Do you think it's legit? What's kind of the player reaction to it?
I think it's something that's important, but it's something that I don't think should be overvalued, you know, at times. Like, and it's times where should be valued like just how it is. Like you said, Joe did a lot of things in that game, like you can see from his plus minus, that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. You know, the way he talks, the way he leads when he's on the court, the different kind of, you know, sets he's running on defense to kind of clean up stuff that we might mess up on, and, you know, he recovers on, and stuff he's screening off ball, he's trying to get to the rebound, he's drawing guys offensively, defensively, he's trying to get to where he needs to on the gaps. So I think plus minus is an important stat, but it's also just the way the game flows. You know, when you're out there for a long period of time, your plus minus might not be as high when you're not out there as much, where you're in the game where we're on a run. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just important to really look at the game. You know, I think that's the main thing you got to do is just look at the full game. You can't look at the highlights. You can't just look at the stats. You can't just look at the plus minus. You have to sit down and watch the game, and you can really see who was effective and what they did on the court to be that effective, and, you know, just how they went about the game, and, you know, what they did to kind of push them to get the run before they got out the game and before they got in the game. So just a lot of detail, but I think it's an important stat to have. I just don't overvalue it, but I keep it, you know, where it is. I think it's important.
Jordan, do you like it?
I look at it every day, well, after every game, and just really like go back, look at it, and then look at the film and see like how they both correlate. And I think it's a great stat to have. It depends on just really how you look at it. You can look at it as a good way or as a bad way, but at the end of the day, it's just like, how do you evaluate the game on yourself whenever you go back and watch the game and see how you really affected the game?
Last one from Ryan.
Jordan, Sears played 33 minutes tonight. Felt like Jahmai and Zakai were guarding him for, I don't know, 95% of that time he's on the court. Being the primary ball handler to create their offense, what would that be like for that amount of time with those two guys guarding them?
It'd be very, very difficult, I feel like, because those two guys are great on the defensive end. They put their whole entire pride on defense, and just like every guy on the team, everyone wants to buckle down on defense and stop whoever's in front of them, no matter who it is. It's just very tough going against Shaq and Z in practice. You know, you can't just use one move to get them off the rocket. You got to use ball move. You got to use all five guys to get these guys off the rocket, to get them off one spot to get to your spot. And it's very difficult, but at the end of the day, being on the court with them guys, when I'm on defense with them, it's very fun because it's all five versus their five, and our five versus storming around on defense, for sure.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.